Welcome to Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on Monday Night Raw and Partial Superstars. And to start off, always, is some news. Former WWE wrestler Mike Knox was 34 on Monday. He was born, actually last week, July 17th, 1978. He worked a TNA Explosion match and a dark match at May 14th and 15th Impact Wrestling tapings. And he took part of the Aces and Eights faction. Former TNA Knockout Daphne, a.k.a. Shannon Spruill, was 37. She was born on July 17, 1975. She was released by company in March 2011. And she has workman's compensation lawsuit case against the company that is still pending. Former TNA Knockout Lacey Von Erich turned 26. She was born on July 17th, 1986. These are some late birthdays that I missed last week. She left the company in 2010. Late pro wrestling legend Eduardo Carpentier was born on this date, 1926. He died October 30th, 2010 of heart attack at the age of 84. Hackers of an apparent KKK, that's Ku Klux Klan for those that don't know. Oh, you didn't know? I just told you so. Well, the group has posted personal emails, addresses, and phone numbers of Booker T and his wife, Sharmell, on their website. The KKK have also gained access to Booker's Twitter account and posted numerous racist messages, and they have also redirected his website, realityofwrestling.com, to their own site. And the following was posted on their website. Personal information that has been censored. Just jacked the crap out of effing who goes by the name of Booker Huffman. We also took the extra time to F his monkey wife over. Booker is known for being a professional yet fake WWE wrestler. Jacked by Anarchy. Anarcee. 300,000 people following this N-word. 300K followers. And he goes on to say, I also got access to their main website. Well, that enough should have the guy arrested because he admitted the guilt. And of course the website is http://realityofwrestling.com. The domain is now being redirected to CLANVV3.com. They stole his wife and his Twitter's account. That's twitter.com/Sharmell Huffman and twitter.com/Booker T5X. And by the way, Sharmell has 4,000 followers and Booker T has 301,000 followers. And they stole their emails, Sharmell Twitter, and Booker Twitter. And their names, Sharmell and Booker Huffman. Their address, state, Texas, they gave. The zip code was 77546. Only gave a personal phone number. I will not give that out. Evening phone, I will not give that out. And their long distance phone. I won't give that out either. Cody Hauntz and Dan Jones were at the Raw 1000 show. It's in the passing Superstar spoilers. First match, Tyson Kidd and Jesse Gable defeated Kurt Hawkins and Tyler Rex. Good ovation for Tyson Kidd and Gabriel. Lots of boos for Hawkins and Rex. The crowd was hot, mainly because we're ready for Raw. Fans are still filling in because the doors were a little slow opening last night. Gabriel and Kidd did great, and the crowd reacted fairly well to them. Kidd and Gabriel are getting beat pretty bad, but the crowd's warming up a little. Sort of slow at the moment. Great tag team from Hawkins and Rex. Gabriel is struggling to make the tag, but finally got it. Kidd came in from behind. Gabriel flew over the top and took out Hawkins. Kidd from top rope with a finisher to Rex and got the win for his team. The crowd reacted well to the match. Zack Ryder defeated Michael McGillicuddy. Good pop for Ryder. I guess not much reaction for Michael. Lots of woos to start the match. Not much action from the match. Quiet crowd, yet very pro Ryder. It picked up with more "Let's Go Ryder" chants. Ryder went for the woo woo woo. The woo 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 kick and got it. He went for the pin, but only got a 2. He hit his finisher for the win. And Dan also noted that the fans were taking photos with Charles Robinson before Superstars began. WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold issued a statement explaining why he was not at the Raw 1000 on Monday. The reason I did not attend Raw because I underwent a major knee surgery on my left knee on July 2nd. Also wrote Dr. Neil Olatrach of the Kurland Job Orthopedic Clinic in Los Angeles, California performed the surgery. The surgery was a complete success. And I'm currently 3 weeks post-op. I began physical therapy a few weeks ago and had a world-class surgeon and had a great medical team working on me. I am now working with a top-notch physical therapy team, and I'm still on crutches and will probably lose the crutches in another week. Then I will be in a custom knee brace, much like the braces I wore in the ring for 9 to 12 weeks. To read the full blog, visit BrokenSkullRanch.com, archives 1142. Still surprised we didn't see that he wasn't on the show. All the hype, and they did the WWE 13 that he was going to be in the video game, and that was all that they said. We would all have loved to see what type of segment he would have been in. And now for your Raw event that went on. They opened the show with a video that focused on the past Raw events, including wrestlers past and present, a number of celebrities. Ric Flair was featured prominently in the video, as was Edge, Eddie Guerrero, Stone Cold, Batista, Bret Hart, etc. It concluded with Vince McMahon stating that this is Monday Night Raw. Coleslaw welcomes all of us to Raw, and noted that they were playing to a sold-out crowd of over 18,000 fans. On commentary by Jerry the King Lawler. No Booker T, no Nickelback. Wow, what a way to start off the show. Ring announcer Justin Roberts introduced Vince McMahon, who walked onto the stage while Coleslaw spoke about the ovation of respect. McMahon received from the live crowd. Cole said Lawler was with Raw since day one. Lawler spoke about it being a special night. Wow, 1,000 episodes. Vince said, I would just like to say thank you. The fans returned the favor by chanting, thank you, Vince. Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Vince. He also delivered the Welcome to Monday Night Raw introduction and then introduced DX, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels headed to the ring by themselves, wearing their camouflage DX gear. Once in the ring, Shawn acted like he was struggling to catch his breath. Let me speak. And then he went on to the next portion of his talk. Shawn said that he didn't want Hunter to get him wrong, but he said he felt like he was missing something. Hunter agreed. He pointed out that Shawn was wearing a T-shirt special for a Raw 1000, wristbands and glow sticks, all the memorabilia. Do you think there should be more of us? Triple H says. Yeah, that's what something was missing. The crowd roared. HBK and Hunter pointed to the stage, and it's also Shawn's birthday. As the music played, X-Pac, okay. And when HBK and Hunter pointed to the stage, the theme music played again. X-Pac, Billy Gunn, and Road Dogg drove the military Jeep with a bunch of plants on it and headed to the ring. Road Dogg did the New Age Outlaws entrance. And they the New Age Outlaws entrance and bleeped themselves rather than saying BA. That's badass. Hunter did the Are You Ready routine, and he said for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. And for himself, since he was the only one left with a full head of hair, Hunter said he would see each and every one of them, of the fans, that they hit 2,000 shows, and did the Let's Get Ready to Suck It line, and that was played off a bunch of times. They went back and forth. And it was Billy and Sean had a fun argument over whose part was next. Hunter pulled Gunn aside and said Sean will lose a smile if he doesn't get his way. And that's what Sean was doing. He said he does weird things like pose for Playgirl when that happens. Sean cracked that he needed the money, and the whole crowd laughed, which made the DX members laugh as well. And Hunter told Billy Gunn that Michaels that they could do the line together. Before Gunn and Michaels could say the line, Damien Sandow's music interrupted, and Sandow came to the ring and said that DX is what Raw, WWE, and society have became. He entered the ring and continued his rant. Sean said that this is true about him, and he's going to ask forgiveness again. Sandow said he knows DX could dispose of him like common trash, but he will not be a victim. He said he will be a martyr for anyone who appreciates a sophisticated mind. Hunter called for the DX member to huddle. Sandow said it was very rude to exclude him. Funny segment. DX broke the huddle, and with the DX on 3, Hunter was about to tell Sandow that they decided that when HBK delivered the Sweet Chin music on Sandow, Hunter followed up with a pedigree. Gunn delivered it, if you're not down with that line, to close out the whole segment. If you're not down with that, he holds the microphone up to the crowd, and he's saying, we got 2 words for ya! Everybody knows what that is, suck it! Well, that was the end of that segment. Cole Saw and Lawler hyped the Rock and Brock Lesnar appearing tonight on Raw, and the wedding of Daniel Bryan and AJ, and the WWE Championship match between John Cena and CM Punk. My guess was they were going to save that for the main event. I was wrong. What a memorable segment to open the show with the first full-fledged, minus China, reunion of the ages. It was also good to see Sandow get some rub by being involved in the segment. His character is growing on me, and he is definitely a reason to watch. Does it bring me back to the old days with the Genius character? I wonder if the DX members will be taken out one at a time throughout the show by Lesnar. That was my prediction as well. But it didn't happen. They waited for later to do all the challenges and what have you. Lillian Garcia introduced JR, who joined the commentary for this next match. Cole was complimentary of Ross and Lawler as a duo, and did not heel it up. Ring entrances for both opening people took place. They showed footage of the Chris Jericho and Dolph Ziggler segment from last week, and they pointed out that they would now have to team together in a 6-man tag. And the 6-man tag was Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, and Sheamus versus Chris Jericho, Dolph with Miss Piggy, and Alberto Del Rio with Railroad Rodriguez in a 6-person tag. In 4 minutes 15 seconds of TV time, the match is joined already in progress as the heels getting the better of Sin Cara. Cole hyped Tout and Twitter and noted that Hornswoggle has been tweeted. Lawler said that he was still angry with him and the anonymous GM. Sin Cara made a hot tag to Sheamus. Mysterio got the better of the interfering Del Rio. Sin Cara cleared the ring. And Jericho threw Sin Cara to ringside. Sheamus and Jericho squared off and avoided big moves. Jericho went to the ropes for a move only to have Ziggler punch him. Jericho stood up and Sheamus took him out with a rogue kick and scored the win. Sheamus, Mysterio, and Sin Cara defeated Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, and Alberto Del Rio 4 minutes 20 seconds. Cole thanked Ross for being with him. Ross said it was his pleasure. Cole hyped the Rock's appearance for later in the show. And then we get Mysterio teaming with Sin Cara. Should have felt a little bit bigger deal than it did. The focus was on Jericho and Ziggler's storylines more than the match itself. And obviously Sheamus, since he got the pin. Is that really the last that we'll hear from JR tonight? Well, meanwhile, Nitro Hill Cole calling it straight down the line and not healing it up. Here's hoping this becomes the norm, and it's just the Raw 1000, by the way. No mention of Charles Sheen yet, and that was a couple of minutes later. So it appears that he won't be serving as a social media ambassador as previously advertised. Then they showed a graphic of the gas price and stamp price when Raw launched for the first time. As they Cole set up top videos from the fans discussing the wedding. One guy did the yes routine, another thought that he was a Rock, and the last guy made a chart. Made something. And then we get Charlie Sheen joining Michael Cole and Lawler via Skype. Sheen said that the show has been epic and unbelievable. He said he would have fit in nicely with DX. Cole said Sheen would be joining them throughout the show. Surprised that they set up the Skype rather than just a satellite. That was my thing. And they're having Sheen deliver the top messages throughout the show. That being said, they delivered him after all, so at least they have had that going for them. Very similar to all the segments that they've had with The Rock not being at the actual show. Via satellite. Footage aired of Daniel Bryan asking AJ to marry him. Backstage, Layla asked AJ if she wanted to go through with the wedding. AJ asked why everyone keeps asking her that. She opened the locker room door, and we see Hacksaw Jim Duggan was yelling at his catchphrase. R-Truth and Roddy Piper playing jump rope for little Jimmy. Layla started dancing the little Jimmy for no apparent reason. Then they went back to the doorway where Mae Young was with a man in a hand suit. And he introduces himself as Mae Young's son. I was groaning throughout that whole thing. I was saying, no. I was doing the line at Booker T. Tell me you just didn't do that. Tell me you just didn't say that. Well, I wonder how that's going to play off. Well, if you're not familiar with that, Mae Young was pregnant with a storyline with Mark Henry, and they delivered a hand. So this is Hand Jr. So now they got two hands where they can do whatever they do. Okay, Lawler thanked the performer of the Raw 1000 theme song. As the announcers were talking at ringside, a woman dressed in a Sonic outfit delivered them drinks. And she was on roller skates as well. Okay, so I'm not a fan of the Raw 1000 song. Didn't much hear it on the show myself. Well, I'll cry next week if they bring that back. And a tired Nickelback theme song. By the way, Maury Povich should stop by Raw once he's done at the Impact Zone to give Mae Young a paternity test. I don't think Mae's son looked anything like Henry. It reminds me of the Louis C.K. children of Louis suddenly having an African-American mother this season. Brodus Clay, Cameron, and Naomi did their dance routine. Yes, that's the Funkasaurus and the Funkadactyls. Well, then Jack Swagger stood at ringside. They didn't do much. He just came up and was doing kind of like jumping jacks. Clay introduced the brother from a different mother, Dude Love. And Mick Foley came out wearing the Dude Love gear. And Brodus Clay with Cameron defeated Jack Swagger in like 16 seconds. And Cole spoke about how Swagger was trying to end his losing ways. 15 seconds later, Swagger's losing ways continues. As usual, the big Brodus Clay finished splash. Then Dude Love danced with Brodus doing the Saturday night special. Yeah, shaking her legs and all. Well, that was about it for that. Okay, so that was about it. And then he took out the mandible claw, Dude Love style, the multicolors. And backstage, Triple H told Trish Stratus that he didn't know if yoga was for him. If you're not familiar with this segment, when Stephanie walks in and Triple H is behind her, well, this was a role reversal. Trish Stratus was behind him while he was bending over. Then we got a commercial from SmackDown focusing on Dolph Ziggler as a Money in the Bank contract winner. I know that Sheamus always has to watch his back. And Daniel Bryan is going to have AJ committed. I was encouraged to hear that them mention Swagger's losing ways. That's usually a sign that a wrestler will eventually break out of a storyline slump. There may be hope for Swagger's WWE push yet. Cole hypes the Punk vs. Cena match for later on in the show. Lawler stood in the ring along with a wedding set. Lawler introduces Reverend Slickster, the former tag team manager, and his usual jive soul. I'm a jive soul bro music. He danced his way to the ring as the great jive soul bro theme played. Lawler returned to commentary and said, "Love is grand, but divorce is 100 grand." And the Slickster said he'd been promised a whole lot of Yardbirds and said it was time to get the show on the road. Daniel Bryan made his entrance in his white suit, tuxedo. Bryan led some orgasm chants, and AJ made her entrance wearing a wedding dress, which is also white, while carrying a bouquet of flowers. Cole recalled the Triple H and Stephanie McMahon wedding as well as Kane and Lita wedding. And how many other weddings have we had before? They didn't mention Macho Man and Elizabeth. I guess because that might not have been on Raw. And then Slick mentions AJ by her full name, AJ Lee. Slick got what chance and played into them by repeating himself in an over-the-top preacher manner. He was on a roll when AJ tugged his sleeve and got him to tone down because he was getting really into the preaching. Funny Slick delivered the line about whether anyone had any objections. There were a lot of boos. Wow, never heard that before, he said. Bryan pulls out a ring and said while they've had their ups and downs, he loves her and always will. He said once he puts the ring on her finger and they become man and wife, a new chapter is going to begin for both of them. Bryan said he will finally have everything he's ever wanted. Bryan put the ring on her finger. Slick asked if Bryan took AJ to be his wife. Orgasm. Bryan. Yes. Slick started to ask AJ. She cut him off and said yes, yes, yes. Slick said that says it all. He was about to say that the power vested in him, but AJ stopped him off. I wasn't saying yes to Daniel. I was saying yes to someone else. She smiled at Bryan and said, another man who made me a proposal to me earlier tonight. Well, surprised out of nowhere, Vince McMahon, no chance in hell, the music played. And the crowd started cheering. What? Cole asked on commentary. Vince said it wasn't the kind of proposal that everybody was thinking. He said it was a business proposal. Vince said in the interest of making Raw the best show it can be, it was time to introduce the new general manager of Raw. Well, Vince interrupted and looked to the back and then said, AJ, she smiled, and Bryan stood in the ring in disbelief. AJ handed Bryan the flowers and then skipped around the ring and Bryan started trashing the wedding set. Goes up the ramp, then AJ went, just like Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. And Yeah, Jill came back with a $1.25. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so now we have no idea what the guys dressed in white in the white scrubs were for earlier in the evening when Daniel Bryan was backstage talking to like 6 guys dressed in white gurney outfits. So that was a waste. And there was talk last week of having Big Johnny return as their general manager. I would have went on strike on that. Boycotted Raw. This isn't the best move that they could have made, but we'll have to take it over Big Johnny. That being said, it wasn't a surprise. But AJ has a short run. We'll have a short run, and then we get a return of Big Johnny. Wait and see. Because it would make it stupid. Because they still got Johnny wrestling in dark matches. Well, from at least a storyline standpoint, I'm not even sure that this makes sense. Board of directors took weeks before coming to the conclusion that the whack job was the best person for the job. Then we get a SummerSlam commercial airing. Daniel Bryan was still throwing a fit in the ring, tearing down the podiums and the flowers and the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees. Oh well, throws everything down. Okay. He wasn't there to gloat, but Bryan did he just got stood up at the altar. He pointed out how poorly Bryan treated AJ, threw a fit and screamed about how Punk is not the best in the world. Rather, he said he is the greatest of all time. Well, yeah, that's right. Punk made his entrance, and that's what he was saying. He's not there to gloat, but Bryan, you just got stood up at the altar. He pointed out how poorly Bryan's been treating AJ, and thus he deserved what he got. As Daniel was saying, what he said, he's the greatest of all time. Cue to Rock's music. Rock played. Comes out to a huge pop. Rock headed straight to the ring where Punk and Bryan were waiting. Once Rock music stopped, the Rocky chants began. Clean shaven Rock and Bryan don't get to say who the greatest of all time is. He said the fans get to say who that is. Another Rocky chant breaks out. Rock delivers his "Finally, The Rock has come back to St. Louis" line. And The Rock was going to say more, but Bryan interrupted him. Bryan started to talk, but Rock told him that you don't cut off The Rock like that. And then tense Bryan looked at The Rock, and they both looked to the crowd, and the crowd started chanting "Boots to asses." Punk was shown looking unimpressed while leaning against the ropes. Rock said he won his first WWE Championship in St. Louis. And Rock said he wasn't there to talk to Frodo. He was there to talk about the WWE Championship. Rock said he just received word that he will challenge the WWE Champion at the Royal Rumble, no matter who it may be. Punk said that is good news for Rock and him. Punk said he'll fill in the blanks because Rock is looking at the man who will be the WWE Champion at the Royal Rumble. And don't forget, Royal Rumble is January pay-per-view for WWE. Punk said he's going to beat Cena on Raw and said that Punk versus Rock at the Rumble sounds so good to him. Punk said that he's going to beat Rock at the Rumble. There were plenty of boos from the live crowd. Rock said it's only fitting that since he won his first WWE Championship in St. Louis, he will look Punk in the eye and tell him that he will be the next WWE Champion. Well, Bryan stood between them and said, No. This was supposed to be about me. This was supposed to be about the best night of my life. Bryan said some way, somehow, Rock will be fighting him. Bryan said he will not only be the champion, but he will be the face of WWE. Rock said Bryan resembles what it would look like if a homeless lumberjack but banged this Oompa Loompa. Rock told Punk to kick some ass like he knows he will. Rock said he got Bryan a wedding gift and wanted to give it to him anyways. Rock picked up Bryan and slammed him with the rock bottom. And then he actually said Oompa Oompa doopity dee or something like that, how it goes. Huge news regarding the Royal Rumble. I assume this means The Rock wins the WWE Championship at the Rumble, then defends against John Cena at WrestleMania 29. Wow, like the Rumble announcement, because it adds more meaning to the Rumble, and it takes away from the predictable finish of Rock winning. Of course, it could set up the predictable finish of Cena winning and then challenging The Rock. I would avoid that by having the Raw Elimination Chamber match decide who challenges for the WWE Championship. I'd rather have a predictable outcome in the Chamber match than a predictable Rumble match. Plus, that would explain why Rock doesn't defend the WWE title in the Elimination Chamber. Justin Roberts introduces Bret Hart as a guest ring announcer for the next match. Once in the ring, Hart says one of the best moments of his career was when he beat one of the greatest superstars, Mr. Perfect, for the Intercontinental title. Hart introduced the Intercontinental title match. Participants for up next. Christian versus The Miz for the Intercontinental title. Hart comically showed no enthusiasm while introducing The Miz. Meanwhile, on the greener side, Coleslaw was playing cheerleader mode for Miz. He's back in the heel gimmick. Cole slipped back into the nice guy mode by congratulating Lawler on how special the evening must be for him. Christian dove off the top rope onto Miz at ringside. Early on, the announcers played up the possibility that Christian may have injured his knee, which was his right knee. And during the match, Christian was working on that right knee. Well, they went to commercial, and Christian was selling the knee injury. Miz hit the DDT on a kneeling Christian for a really good near fall. Short time later, Miz got the Skull Crushing finale while he was still on the knee and scored the clean pin. Cole noted that Miz is a Triple Crown champion because he's won the championship, the WWE Championship, WWE Tag Titles, and Intercontinental title. Well, the triple threat for singles is none other than WWE title, Intercontinental title, and US title. And the match only took 7 minutes 40 seconds. The Christian fans only have themselves to blame for not voting for a Divas Championship or a US title match. You are the horrible people. Okay, that was last week, so they probably would have booked this title match anyway, title change anyway, and I still thank you for not subjecting us to a forgettable Divas match or an unfunny Santino match. They gave Christian a storyline excuse for losing via the injury angle. So he was protected and he had an obvious need for a rematch. Cole and Lawler spoke with Charlie Sheen via Twitter. He said Raw was epic. He said he's a big fan of The Rock and can't wait to see him at the Royal Rumble. He worked in a cheap plug for his anger management television show by saying Brian has anger management issues and pointing to the show logo on his hat. Well, I didn't see none of that. Announced hyped WWE Championship match, and Cole's commentary was cut off by a thank you commercial break. Correction on what Cole said about The Miz, he called him a triple. I already went over that. Legendary television show personality Regis Philbin delivered a Raw 1000 video greeting. Triple H made his entrance and watched as the big screen showed highlights of Brock Lesnar breaking his arm. Hunter, who was still dressed in the DX gear, told the crowd that he's had his fun. So now it's time to pick up the intensity. He said he knows Brock Lesnar is in the building. He said he wants to fight Lesnar at SummerSlam. He said he wants an answer now. Cue Brock Lesnar's music, and it's none other than Paul Heyman. Cole quickly pointed out that Lesnar is actually in the building. Hunter said he came out to talk to the horse's head, but the horse's ass came out instead. Heyman said he could see Hunter's negotiating skills have improved since they last met. Heyman said Lesnar gave him power of attorney to answer for him. Heyman said Lesnar's answer regarding SummerSlam is no. He shrugged his shoulders and said sorry. Hunter said that if Lesnar doesn't want to come out like a man, he could just go back and fight him. Heyman pointed out that Hunter already has 2 lawsuits against the company because of his actions. Is that truly what's best for the business, Mount Heyman? Well, Triple H questioned whether Lesnar is actually such a coward that he won't come out and answer him to his face. Hunter then questions whether he was just a little bully. Heyman asked if Hunter was really going to result to bullying. He said that's what he teaches his children not to do, and asked if that's what Hunter actually teaches his kids. Hunter slapped the mic aside and said he told him not to talk about his children or his family. Heyman apologized and then said he actually feels for Hunter's children. Hunter backed Heyman into a corner, but they botched. They both stopped, and Stephanie's music plays. And Stephanie walks out wearing a black dress and had an angry look on her face. Once in the ring, Stephanie stared down Heyman and went face to face with him. Well, Heyman was having his eyes on her boobies, just like all the other women he normally does. Which should have got another couple of punches from Triple H. I was thinking that Stephanie was eyes up, please. Well. Okay, well, she says that, let me tell you one thing, Heyman, you don't speak about my children ever again. Do you understand that? Stephanie said the lawsuits are about Lesnar. They are about Heyman's failures as a businessman in ECW, at WCW, and in WWE. She said that when it comes to her father, Heyman is just looking in the rearview mirror. Stephanie said her father at least had the guts to step in the ring with her husband, unlike Lesnar. Stephanie said Heyman's children will grow up to be ashamed of him because they know that their father is nothing more than a professional parasite. Stephanie slapped Heyman across the face, and Heyman went to the ring apron briefly. Heyman back entered the ring and asked, "You want it? This is how bad you want it? You want to see your husband get hurt? You want to see your husband's career end? You want to see your husband fight Brock Lesnar? You got it. It's on. You and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam? It's on." Well, Stephanie flashed a sinister smile. Heyman applauded and said, "You did it to me again." He said Steph always gets what she wants. He says it's what her father taught her, and what she teaches her children. Well, Stephanie struck Heyman and started beating the crap out of him while on top of him. As Triple H is just staring on for a brief moment. And she's like tapping him on the shoulder when Brock's music hits. Out he comes on stage. Triple H and Stephanie look concerned as Hunter put Stephanie behind him. Hunter got Stephanie out of the ring and then turned as Lesnar drilled him with his shoulder blocks. In the corner, Hunter came back with some punches. They traded shots in the middle of the ring, and Hunter clotheslined Lesnar over the top rope. And where Heyman acted shocked. Lesnar stood up and glared at Triple H intensely. Hunter took his shirt off in the ring and called out, "Come on, Lesnar." Removed his shirt and threw it towards the ring. Brock dropped the F-bomb, which was censored. Lesnar and Heyman headed back up to the stage. Lesnar stopped and smiled as he looked at Triple H as they got a commercial. Wow, pretty good segment. Brock didn't look like the dope who ignored Heyman's advice by taking the match because Hunter got under his skin. Rather, it was Heyman who got flustered and took the match. It still doesn't explain what Lesnar's contractual demands are with the lawsuit. But the segment needed to stand out on a loaded show so it could go a little bit better. Well, then they showed a graphic. A Few Good Men was the #1 movie at the box office when Raw debuted. It was tout time. Kofi Kingston and fans checked in with their thoughts on the show. Announcers revealed that the results of the WWE 13 Fantasy Match poll. The winning match was John Cena versus Stone Cold. And then they aired a clip of what the match would look like on the WWE 13 video game. Cole Saul said Stone Cold versus McMahon was a rivalry that helped put Raw on the map. A video package focused on the feud for that showed up, along with John Cena, Stephanie McMahon, The Miz, and others. And as they go to commercial break, I assume that was meant for the crowd's appetite for some Stone Cold making a surprise entrance. That never happened. Well, you get Santino and Hornswoggle segment making their entrance with a batch of new talking stuffed WWE dolls. Cole and Lawler actually played with the Brawling Buddies at ringside. And Cole embarrassingly impersonated the Cena doll. Howard Finkel served as a guest ring announcer. He introduces Heath Slater, who took the mic and said everything has happened in the past, and the only thing viewers would remember is his epic victory tonight. He challenged any Raw legend to a no DQ, no clown out match with falls count anywhere. Well, Lita's music played. Lita made her entrance to a nice crowd reaction. Cole referred to her as the greatest high-flying diva of all time. Slater laughed at Lita for thinking that she can beat him. You know what, sweetheart? I accept your challenge, so ring the bell, man. Ring the bell. So we got Lita versus Heath Slater. Well, the bell man complied. Lita took the mic and said that she hired herself a little protection for their match. And that brings out APA's music with JBL and Ron Simmons. Headed to the ring. Slater left the ring and walked up to the entrance. Well, he was surprised with some more people coming in. Which was Road Warriors Animals music. So we got Roddy Piper, Rikishi, Doink, DDP, Vader, Sid Vicious, Bob Backlund, and Sergeant Slaughter joining in. And chasing back to the ring, Lita immediately hits a twist of fate. JBL followed up by with a clothesline from hell. Lita followed up with a moonsault for the win. Afterwards, all the legends stood over Slater, and Ron Simmons took the mic, let out the big damn to end the segment. And that match took a minute and 55 seconds. I don't know if anyone guessed that Lita would be the person to pin Slater. It was cool to see her back again, and the fans into her, and the legends. Curious to see where they go with Slater now that this run with the Legends is presumably over. He's done a good job with this, and I'd like to see him get a little something. At least put him in a Intercontinental chase or U.S. chase. But if he's any good, because he's not better than A-Rye. Come on, folks. Say it to their faces. A-Rye, A-Rye. Well, a video package recapped Vince McMahon naming AJ as the new general manager backstage. Returning Sean Mooney interviewed Daniel Bryan, who complained about Charlie Sheen. He said Sheen needs life management. He said that if Sheen were standing where Mooney is, he would slap the yes lock on him faster than he would say winning. Lawler boasted that the WWE broke 1 million social media followers. And Michael Cole interviewed the 100 millionth follower, Alex Guerrero Jr., who got free tickets to the event. And he did the famous, "May I have your attention, please?" And did all that. Lawler mentioned Cole's catchphrase and set up the video that recapped the wrestler catchphrases from over the years. So we got TNA has Chavo Guerrero Jr. and WWE counters with Alex Guerrero Jr. The video featured Fozzy of the Muppets setting things up, and Randy Savage was shown at one point along with the numerous performers, past and present. And we get a backstage segment with Zack Ryder telling John Cena that Gene Okerlund was the one behind GTV. And John was saying, like, really? Really? He was stealing the Miz lines. Okerlund said he wasn't even working for WWE at the time. Cena's face turned serious. The camera pulled back, and The Rock was shown coming up to Cena. And Ryder and Mean Gene left the camera area. Rock said he was there to do what he did for Punk by wishing Cena good luck. Cena brought up Rock wrestling at the Royal Rumble and said he was cashing in his Money in the Bank contract with the goal of winning the WWE Championship and facing The Rock at the Rumble. Rock said he couldn't even tell him how much he's looking forward to that. Quick and to the point, both men kept straight face. Don't know how Cena could justify his smirking throughout the build to WrestleMania 28, but he definitely needs to be intense and serious heading into the rematch that he lost the first match. Kane makes his entrance. He was on the verge of doing the pyro bit when he was introduced by Jinder Mahal. He was interrupted by Jinder Mahal's music entrance theme. And he was led by Kurt Hawkins, Tyler Rex, Drew McIntyre, Hunico, and Camacho, the heroes of the WWE Superstars, supposedly. To the ring, Mahal said that they haven't been given a chance, so tonight they are doing it themselves. Well, Undertaker's music played and the crowd popped huge. Undertaker performed his full entrance wearing the same gear that he wore to the ring at WrestleMania 28. Lawler noted that Taker competed on the first Raw. Once in the ring, Undertaker and Kane looked at one another. Taker removed his headgear and his head covering and revealed the same mohawk. The Hills returned to the ring and they were tossed to ringside by Taker and Kane. Brothers of Destruction teamed up for a double choke slam on Hunico and Hawkins. Kane and Undertaker scooped them up and dropped them with a double tombstone. Taker and Kane got face to face, then looked down at their opponents. Then there was "This is awesome" chant that broke out. Taker and Kane cleared Hawkins and Hunico from the ring and then looked to the fans, who gave them a good ovation. Taker's music hit, and they posed in the ring together, doing the rolling eyes. Gimmick. And then they do some highlights airing of the Be a Star rally. A cool moment and a good use of Taker. There was nothing about the segment that suggests it was more than a one-off for Taker returning for the milestone show. I suppose we can't rule a return out yet. Taker and Kane teaming at SummerSlam or anything else. But that was pretty basic. Yet, crowd pleasing work for the duo. SmackDown ad hyping the new number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship will be determined on this week's television show. The announcer spoke with Charlie Sheen and repeated what Daniel Bryan said about him. Sheen said he's not hiding and he'd be happy to meet him in the ring or at his house the next time WWE is in Los Angeles. The announcer questioned whether Sheen was challenged by Bryan to a match, or he was challenging Bryan to a match. The announcers noted that the next time that they are in Los Angeles, August 19th, for SummerSlam. Ring entrances for the main event took place. Cena looked into the cameras and said that they are all part of history. They held up the Money in the Bank briefcase and said it was time to make some of his own. CM Punk made his entrance for the main event commercial break. And then finally, John Cena. Cole noted that Cena had cashed in his Money in the Bank contract. He also said that this was the 153rd time that the WWE Championship has been defeated, but the first time of a loss. Or a no decision. Cole said that Punk can tie Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart with the 16th longest reign in WWE Championship history if he is still champion tomorrow. Well, as the show goes past the 10 o'clock hour, overrun, Punk went for a backslide for an early pin attempt. Cena came back with a short time later with a big hip toss. Later, Punk had some fun by mocking "You Can't See Me" routine while going for a bulldog. Cena hit a move, and then you can't see. He does it himself. "You can't see me" to Punk, and he gets a big boot to the face. Punk signaled for the GTS. He went for the move, but Cena pushed him off, and Punk crashed into the referee, who tumbled to the floor at ringside. Referee bump, and the interference has come out. Well, Cena hit the attitude adjustment on Punk and went for the cover with no referees there. Cole counted a pin on commentary, but the referee was still out. Big Show headed to the ring at 8 minutes 15 seconds and speared Cena. Show set up for the knockout punch on Cena, but Punk sat in the corner. Cena got to his feet and Show tagged him with a knockout punch. Punk watched as Show left the ring. Punk looked around. He walked past Cena and went to the ringside to grab the referee. Cole noted that Punk looked conflicted as he helped the referee get back to the ring. Punk finally went for the cover, but the ref counted. 1, 2. Cena kicks out at the last moment. Lawler said he didn't agree with the chant that Punk took. Cole defended it by saying that's what you have to do as champion. Punk picked up Cena for the GTS, but Cena countered it into the STF. Show re-enters the ring and attacked Cena for the disqualification. So the apparent match took, no contest, took 11 minutes 15 seconds. Show roughed up Cena after the bell while Punk sat and then stood in the corner without helping. The Rock ran to the ring and went after Big Show. Punk left the ring as Rock worked over Show with punches and then dropped him with a spine buster. Rock went for the people's elbow, but Punk returned and dropped Rock with a clothesline. The crowd booed as Punk stood in the ring and looked at his hands. Punk looked down at the Rock and waited for him to get up. Punk scooped up Rock and dropped him with a GTS. Punk received some cheers, but was mostly booed. Punk stood in the ring with a serious look on his face, but he did not heal it up. Punk retrieved his WWE Championship belt and walked past Cena in one corner and Rock in the middle of the ring. Punk stopped to look down at Rock briefly, and then he headed slowly toward the back to boos from the crowd. Lawler said he thinks Punk just turned on the WWE Universe, and Cole thanked the viewers for joining them for Raw 1000 and said good night from St. Louis. So we get the big heel turn. A big heel turn on a big show. Surprised that they went for it. No other reason that Cena and Punk are the top two baby faces in the company. And WWE is so babyface driven, it's still to see them going with a Punk versus Show versus Cena match at SummerSlam. But I suppose that they could go with a standard Punk versus Cena match now that Punk is heel. And they definitely been foreshadowing that something was up with Punk, given the way that he told Cena he would lead their tag team. And they had Eve, and then they had Eve and Cho tell them that they were being overshadowed. Most importantly, that they gave viewers a big hook for the big one, Raw 1000 and beyond. This had to be more than just a celebration show. They needed to deliver something big. However, they failed when it came to getting over the new time slot by not hyping something for the opening segment next week. Overall show was a feel-good until the end. Most of the Legends segments were fun, and they did a good job of making Brock Lesnar feel important again, even if he was bounced from the ring by Triple H. There's still time for Lesnar to get his heat back, and perhaps they didn't want to overshadow the Punk turn by doing something even more memorable with Lesnar. And I'm very surprised that we didn't see Stone Cold. And what happened after all? Rock stayed to beat Big Show on and do the People's Elbow. He put John Cena an armband on and did the People's Elbow. It ended with Rock thanking everyone and saying good night. Really disappointed that there was no Stone Cold again, and it was another report from a fan that was at the show. Everyone was around him, and they were really hoping for him. So, other than that, it was just a disappointing show. Thanks for viewing, and peace out. Stay tuned for SmackDown as soon as I catch my breath and upload it.